G'day humans, Chris Stead here. I'm on the road. Well, I am for a couple more minutes anyway. Then I'm getting on the ocean. Here, Celebrity Edge. I'm currently in Christchurch. No, is it behind me? Jumping on midway through this cruise, which is a 12-dayer from Sydney back to Sydney through New Zealand. It's day 8. I'm jumping on for the last few days. Check it out. So I can't give you a review of the actual tour itself because I've missed most of it. But I'm going to give you a full tour of the boat, what it's like, what the stateroom's like, what the experiences on board are like, the food's like, everything you need to know for you to decide whether or not the Celebrity Edge is right for you. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's like on site, so I'm just going to jump straight in there and let's go. Okay, so here we are on my room, which is 210 on deck 6. Conveniently placed just near the elevator, this one, but on level 6. So as you'll see when I get to the window, it's partial view room, which I'm kind of glad about because I'm pretty happy I can show you that. Now, staterooms in general are really, really nice. Really nicely finished, very comfortable. I'm going to go straight away and start with a bed, which is almost the most comfortable bed I've ever stayed in. It's just got the perfect amount of cushioning and firmness. The pillows are fantastic. The dune is really comfortable. One of the best beds I've ever stayed in, anywhere. So huge tick of approval there. Look, let's start back here though. So we've got a little bathroom at the back here, and again, everything's very new and nicely finished. It's actually a pretty decent sized shower for a cruise boat. I mean, it's pretty small potentially by many homes, but good pressure, good temperature. Temperature comes in quick, and yeah, quite a decent size. And provisioned with shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and so forth. Lots of little shelves here. No power point in here, which I thought was right there. Oh, there it is. It's hidden down here. There you go. In case you had an electric shave or anything like that, was what I thought. My point. I couldn't find one before the other night. Yeah, as you can see, like, you know, no mold, just nice and shiny. Very nice. Okay, in here, stacks of storage. Sorry, decent amount of storage. I wouldn't say stacks, but decent amount of storage. There's lots of storage for little things, so they've made use of like this kind of space down here. If you just want to assemble stuff, I guess you could put underpants and socks in there if you wanted to, and store a few things away. So there's lots of little nooks and crannies. Obviously that's not going to take anything big, but it does give you the capacity to fully unpack. And there's a decent amount of space in here. And I'm going to show this because my wife's not going to believe that I actually hang stuff up. There you go, I did it. First time ever. So a solid amount of stuff in there. I mean, for two, it'll get pretty full, but still pretty good. What I do like, despite the bed, I'll show you down here. Despite the fact that the bed is like so comfortable, it's actually like sitting, it's almost floating. And there's stacks of space underneath the bed. Well, it's not floating, it's got legs, but there's not a solid base under there. And you can fit your bags under there and get them out of the way. So that's a real neat piece of advice I was given. Now, depending on which cabin you're in, it does swap. So some people, one cabin has the bed there and the couch here, and the next cabin has the bed here and the couch there. So it kind of flips. Now, I think it'd be better to have the bed down there. And the reason I say this, other than the fact that you're closer to the glass and everything, is that the air conditioning sits right above your head here. And I don't know if that's the same in the other rooms or if it just stops, you know, above the couch. But this is pretty loud to sleep underneath. It's not loud as such, it's just loud when your head is there. But on this particular cruise, it's barely come on. And I've had it set over here. I've got this nifty little electronic keypad here. So it's on 20 at the moment. I've got it set on 19. and it's on at the moment, as you might have heard just then, but it barely comes on much. It's been sitting at 19. I don't know if it's a true 19. I've kind of found the room a bit hotter than what it says, but I spoke to some other guests and they've been saying that the aircon's been really keeping their room cool, so maybe I'm just running hot. Behind me, I should show you the little bedside tables, because I'm interested to see how this splits, because this can split into a twin, I believe. So I guess they move these out or put them in the middle or something. So there's a bigger one on this side, smaller one here, and a handy power point here. Now I'll tell you why it's a handy power point, because the rest of the power points are in this box, which is okay if you've got a connector that fits in that spot. So for example, when I went to charge my laptop, my laptop block is like that big and I couldn't get it in the box. And for a moment I was panicking until I found that there was this one over here that I could plug my laptop into. Generous sized TV, decent amount of channels, a couple of kids channels, an all day movie channel, a couple of, a lot of navigation stuff. Actually the navigation kind of ship information page plays really nice music all day. I've actually just been listening to the music and just watching the camera flick between shots around the ship and the map of where you are. That's actually kind of been what I've watched the most on the TV. It's good that it's got the little couch here. I've mostly used it just for bags and stuff, but sitting on it, shoes on, that kind of thing, it's been helpful. I don't know what happens if you have a third person in the room, because that's not big enough to sleep in. So I'm guessing the rooms that have capacity for more than two maybe have more of a sofa bed experience here. I can't comment on that, unfortunately. And more storage and drawers over here. Little work desk, which to be fair I haven't used, because you just go up on deck and find places to work. And there's a fridge, I believe, in here, which I've only heard come on once. It was loud when it came on, like I could really hear it, but it didn't run for very long. I don't know what happens if you're in a really hot climate. We've been going around New Zealand. The temperature outside is, I think, 21, so despite the fact it's the middle of summer. Internet's been going good. So decent speed on the internet. I've got the premium package of the internet, so that's been going fine. And as you can see, a fair bit of storage there. Now, onto this, the infinite veranda, which I guess is kind of the signature of the staterooms on a celebrity edge. And the whole concept here is to bring the outside inside. That's what they keep telling me about. That's what the whole design of the ship is about, this bringing this inside into the outside into the inside. And so with your, I guess, standard stateroom that you might have seen on other vessels, there'll be sliding doors kind of, on this line here. And this will be an exposed balcony, constantly exposed to the outside. Here, it's got automated glass, automated blinds. You can open these and section this off, which I felt no need to do. But I guess if you were here with someone else and you wanted to be outside enjoying the outsideness, and your partner wanted to be inside not doing that, that capacity is there. But I haven't felt a need to close this at all. And then you can walk out into what would be your veranda, and you are still inside. I'm not sure if I like it. The one thing that I don't like about it is that when you open a window, which I'll do now, which will probably make, it's very windy outside. So if we run it down like this, actually it's not too bad, a little bit of wind. So because the window is right on the edge, when you open this, you're instantly getting wind through here, and quite a lot, like quite a lot of breeze, because there's no wind break between you and the outside world. Whereas on other staterooms I've been on, this is like a partition wall, and then your window is way back here, and so you don't, there's a bit of a break before the wind gets into you. Here, there's no break, so no matter what happens when you open it, wind comes in, and it gushes through here, which can be really nice and pleasant, but frequently it's quite gale force, and there's not much you can do to avoid that. So that's kind of a potential negative, because on previous cruises I have slept with the doors open and just let the sea breeze come through and listen to the waves and everything, but that's not an option really, I don't think, unless you're in a particularly calm climate. But the electronics and everything work well. And I'll show you what the touchpad does. You can open it all from the touchpad. Obviously when it's up, as you can see there, you've got a lot of salt on the window. I don't know if you can see that. That's a kind of a bit of a pain, again, from the glass being right on the edge. It means you get a lot of salt on it. And so you're looking through this kind of quite misty, salty thing when the window is up, which I think wouldn't be as bad if your window is back here. But when you put it down, obviously everything, opens right up and it's beautiful, and yeah, that gives you a pretty kind of good idea about how much it opens up. Oh, that breeze is so good actually. Right now it's really nice. So that gives you an idea of what the infinite veranda is like. And I'll show you as well, while I'm here, I'll just quickly show you what a partial view looks like. So these rooms down here, level 6, have the boats. Now the boat height actually is not too bad, it's kind of on the ground level, but these things, I can't remember the name of them right now, davits I think, they kind of stick up a fair bit. And here we have, this particular room has the magic carpet, which goes up and down there. It doesn't go up and down too often, and there's boats down here. That went in the water once. There was a little bit of noise, but I haven't heard anything from the deck down there. Really, nothing to complain about there. So it's just whether or not you can cop having that. So if you're sitting down in the chair, that's going to be your view. The only time it's really impacted me is when I wanted to take photos out the window, because you've got to zoom past, this roof and that to get a shot. So you're instead of having that amount of space to kind of take a photo, it's that amount of space. So that's a bit of a shame, because you'd be surprised how many times you're in your room and you look out and you go, oh, that's a great shot. But you can obviously just go up on deck and take the shot. That's just something to know about the partial view rooms. So it's still a really nice view. It's still a really nice outlook. So if you're getting a better price for it, it's definitely worth considering. I'll put that back up for now. And it's also, in terms of noise, I was a bit worried being on deck 6, because deck 5 is like an activity space, basically, the Grand Plaza and shops and drinks and bands and all that type of stuff. I was a bit worried about how loud it would be down there, but I haven't heard a thing at all from downstairs. So it's been completely silent, and I haven't heard much in the way of noise from either of my neighbours. The odd cough or something. Every now and again, someone might jump upstairs, and there's a bit of a kind of a bang, but really it's been very, very quiet for the vast majority of the time inside here. Now, what I want to show you before we wrap up the room and go for a tour of the ship is this little pad here. So you've got the light control, so you can just turn the lights, completely off, or completely on, or partially on. And then you can set kind of morning, movie, evening and sleep, and that changes kind of the lights and the way it all works as well, based on the mood if you would like to. But what you can control here is the blind. And so when I press this, the blind over here is going to automatically close. And I'm going to show you what, this could be just specific to this room, but you can see already how that's sloped. It's not a straight line. And when it goes all the way down, you're going to see how that means that there's a fair bit of light bleed. Now, in this particular cruise, we're going around New Zealand in the middle of summer, or the start of summer, so it doesn't get dark till 9:30 at night, and it's light by 5 a.m. And so that's been really annoying. So you see here that closes. I'm just going to take you back to the bed spot and turn off the lights. Hopefully you can see what I mean. So that's where it sits. So you can see how much light that's letting in. So that's been a bit of a drama. Now, I don't know if it's specific to this room or not, but what I suspect has happened is that when it's down, it also rattles in the waves. This blind rattles in the waves. And so to stop it from rattling, my first instinct was to get this chair and push this chair against this blind so it couldn't move back and forth. And as soon as I did that, I realised that I probably wasn't the first. And I think that is why it might be a little bit kinked, because people before me have done exactly the same thing to stop it from rattling and push the chair up against it. And that's kind of, yeah, corrupted the edge of it. So that's, look, that's my experience. So I want to tell you what my experience is. It could be completely unique to this room, but it's something to watch out for. And what I should have done is I should have spotted it straight away and gone and said something straight away, and I probably would have fixed it. But of course you don't think about it till you get into bed, and then you go, I forgot to get that blind fixed. Anyway, so that is a pretty exhaustive tour of the staterooms on level 6 of the Celebrity Edge. Like I said, a couple of little things which, you know, I'd tweak and improve, but overall, really impressed with this stateroom. This is, I should also point out, this is one of the thinner rooms. So there's kind of, depending on where you are on a ship, it looks like there's rooms that are a bit wider. I think this is one of the thinner rooms. It looked like one of the thinner rooms on the deck plan. So you can see there's not that much space. And when I first walked in, I thought, oh geez, that's tight. But really I haven't, it's felt spacious, it's felt private. It's been very comfortable and feels very, very new. There's no little kind of like wears, tears, blemishes, dodgy screen, dodgy reception, none of that stuff. I really like the staterooms. They've done a great job. The infinite veranda, I'm not 100% sold on. I think it depends on where you're sailing. I think going around, you know, New Zealand, which is a cold climate, it's been okay. I think maybe perhaps on a warmer climate, I'd be disappointed not to just have that open space. That's what I believe. Anyway, let's jump in and have a look at the rest of the ship. Righto then, so we're going to get a bit of a tour of the ship. Now usually I would try and just tour the entire tour in one take and walk around the top deck and the bottom deck. But unfortunately, it has just started to pour outside. And we are about to pull into port tomorrow and get off. So I don't really want to risk not being able to do it in the morning when everyone's packing up to leave. So we're going to go do it now, and I'll try and shoot outside later on, unless it stops raining by the time we get up there. So let's dive in and have a look around. So here's my room here, 210 on deck 6, as I mentioned, which is really close to the elevators. And I've got to say, being close to the elevators is definitely handy. When you're right down the middle there somewhere, you can kind of get to either end quickly, or either end from where you are, but you get lost a lot easier, and also you can't get upstairs as quick, which is often what you're trying to do if you're trying to get to the pool or something. Now, it's a little bit noisy here, but you can't hear these elevators at all in the room, so let's just know that. So 16 floors on Celebrity Edge. I'm going to talk a lot about the design of this boat, engineering, but what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the downstairs ones for now. So floor 6, you can see it jumps from 5 to 12 here. So floor 6 and 11 are pretty much all cabins. So we're going to walk down to floor 5 and I'll give you a tour what's down there. Now, as I mentioned, the whole ethos here is to bring the outside inside. And I'll talk to some points that kind of talk to that, and I'll talk to some points that don't talk to that as much as they suggest it would, and kind of what it means for the design of the ship. I've already spoken through the verandas, which are really interesting. Like I said, I'm not 100% sold on them, but I was just actually up with the captain talking in a bridge, and he was telling us about how he can activate all the windows, can control every single window in there. So if it's raining suddenly or windy, or they've got automated robotic cleaners, which is great. So the robots come down the outside and clean the glass, so they can close the glass and then clean it. And you can control that from the bridge. So that's an interesting piece of tech. Okay, so this is the walkthrough to Eden. I have no idea why it's like this. It's really cool and eerie. It can be interesting to walk through after a big night. The boat's rocking side and forth. Actually, I've got to tell you about the rocking. Okay, so the boat has been moving a fair bit, but not significantly, just consistently. And I thought that we just weren't having that bad swell. Yeah, like it's just sway left and right, but it's not too much. It's actually kind of nice, I think. I mean, you can see this little swing here just drifting a little bit. That gives you an idea of the movement, right? Now, a couple of days ago, apparently it was 130 km/h winds outside and 7-metre waves, and you really couldn't feel it that bad in here. And the reason is because they've come up with this ingenious new bow design on this ship, which apparently now, since they came up with it, Celebrity Edge came out with it, has now become the go-to bow for all ships that have been made across all the different cruise lines since, because it goes through the water a lot better. So it reduces kind of the drag and the consumption of fuel, and you know, big sustainability thing there as well, but obviously it costs them less to run. But they also have this thing where they put bubbles. Bubbles come up underneath the bow, and so the boat kind of sits on a bed of bubbles. And not only does it allow it to glide quicker, I think there's what do they call it? Air. I can't believe I mental blanked on the name of it. But so these bubbles come up from underneath the bow, and then they float underneath the whole entire ship. And not only does it help it glide through the water quicker, which obviously helps with fuel and allows it to move better, but it also really helps stability. And you know, a few of the staff were telling me that if we'd been in like a traditional boat in that swell, we really would have been woo, 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 you know. But I didn't even notice it, you know, any more than normal. So yeah, anyway, yes, this is Eden. This is kind of at the back of the boat. It's obviously, as you can see, they've got bands playing here. There was a Zumba class in here before. It's just a really, really nice space. There's a little library up there, and a lot of people just going to mingle here, sit, chat. Really nice bar, got a lot of top shelf stuff here. And then they've got a restaurant downstairs. Now I did eat, this is one of the specialty dining restaurants, I did eat here and it was excellent. You can do like a 7-course meal that they pair 7 wines. But yeah, it was just really, really yummy. But this outlook off the back of the boat, and this is what I do like about Celebrity Edge, is the design is beautiful. And everything's new, everything's purposeful, you know, and frequently it just looks beautiful. And I was talking to some of the staff that were telling me that this particular glass structure here that we're standing under now is actually a bit of an engineering feat, because these things apparently go through the equivalent of 8,000 earthquakes a day by just rocking, and they're all concertinaed together in a way so that the glass doesn't shatter. Apparently it's quite an engineering feat. I'm not an engineer, I can't tell you. So it doesn't just look good, it's got some really impressive engineering behind it. But it's quite frequently form over function, and that's my downside to this beautiful design. I'm going to show you a classic example right now. You come up here. Actually, no, this is not this side, this is a different spot. So there's a lot of times in this ship, and I'll show you upstairs, I know there's some other spots, where you just get to a dead end, and it's done to look beautiful and curve around in this way, as it does, and then you get up here and you got to turn around and go all the way back, because it no longer syncs up. It's on a different floor. We started off on floor 5, and now we're on floor 6, and down there's floor 4. In this particular room, it actually does sync back around. So there's a few places, especially upstairs, where it looks beautiful, but then it's just like navigating it's just challenging, because you're just constantly going places that you're trying to get to somewhere, and you just keep hitting spots where it just goes, you cannot go through here. And you have to go all the way backtracking. It also happens down on the bows of the ship, and I'll show you that soon. Like, you go into floor 3 or whatever, and it says on the navigation on floor 3 is this thing, and then you go down there, but you've got to go down a certain stairwell or go a certain elevator or a certain way, or you can't get there, which has been a little bit frustrating. So it's a bit of because it looks beautiful, but the navigation is not perfect. Now through here, there's a wine tasting around here, 4 pillars. So there's a little cafe in here. It's complimentary. And they do sandwiches to order, soups. I had a roast beef here before that they were carving up. Only open at certain times, as you can see. And I wish this room had more high tables like this. So if you look around, there's lots of seats, but they're all little coffee tables. And it's actually a really nice place to come and just, do a bit of work or play a game of cards or something like that. And there's not enough functional tables for that, in my opinion. All right, let's go have a look at another area. So as you can see now, look at the rain coming in there. Yeah.
Freezing cold as well?
No, it's not cold. It's just raining now.
Yeah.
So we are at the back of the boat right now, aft. Now, I haven't had a chance to learn much about this restaurant, Blu. There have been some functions in there, I've noticed. There's been people getting married and anniversaries and things like that going on. But that's not one of the complimentary, I don't think. But there's an interesting way that they do the meals here. So, as opposed to there being one huge, large dining hall, that's kind of like, you've got the buffet, which I'll show you in a bit. And then you've got the dining hall, usually on these cruises, where you can sit down and order food a la carte. On this one, they have multiple places like this one, Cyprus, which I ate in last night, that has I'll see if I can see the menu. Right, yeah, which has its exclusives, and then has a mix of different things every single night, and then one's classics that are there always, right? So these are here always, those, and these change every night, right? And they've got a bunch of restaurants like that. So there's another one over here, Cosmopolitan, and they'll have different, they're all joined to the same kitchen. So you can order something from Cyprus in Cosmopolitan, if that's what you want. Sorry, I'm just getting a little light flicker here. I'll see if I can fix it. Nope. Yeah, so nice large spaces, all very nice. Staff are great. Been really happy with the wine quality. It's been really good. Drinks all around have been great. And yeah, so rather than kind of everyone going to one major dining hall, people kind of segregate into these smaller places that are slightly themed, and then order the food from the kind of theme that that particular restaurant has, or they, just go with the classic or whatever. So this is Tuscan, so it's got a bit of an Italian theme. As you can see, everyone's getting ready for tonight. So these aren't open during lunch, that's the shame. I wish they were open at lunch, but they're just open at dinner. Cosmopolitan's open at lunch and dinner. Normandie down here. Right, so you get the idea. Okay, and as you can see, they all look different. They're all offering something unique. It gives you an opportunity to kind of, instead of going to the dining hall 4 nights in a row, you can go to all 4 restaurants, which is what I've been doing, and just mix it up a little bit and have a slightly different experience. That's cool. I actually really like the approach. I think it's really, really good. And especially because, and I'll go into this a little bit more later, but I haven't been very happy with the buffet. I think the buffet is a bit too generic and not diversified enough. It's too samey each day, and there's not a whole lot going on really. And the food quality on the buffet hasn't been awesome, as opposed to in these restaurants where it's been really, really good. So it's kind of a bar, quite a quality drop with the buffet, which I haven't noticed in previous cruise liners that I've done, in particular Royal Caribbean. The buffet is a real destination. Okay, now this is another thing, casino. It's really in your face. It's not kind of buried in the subdeck or anything. It's like on the main thoroughfare. So if you're a bit anti-casino, I'm not going to go in there. I'm not allowed to. I got busted last time I did that. If gambling's not your thing, gambler. It's a bit off-putting, just having it right in your face like that. But so this is the main drag. You can see the casino takes up a chunk of the main drag. There's a few shops, not too many. Now, there's the elevators that we came down before, to give you an idea of the scale. It's not a very big boat, and it's very deliberate. And what's been really interesting is talking to the guys, a lot of boats around this size have about anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 people on it. This is capped at 3,160, I think they said, if my memory serves correctly. We're very close to that number. If I've got it slightly wrong, I apologise. And it's at full capacity right now, like max capacity, and you wouldn't know. And I've spoken to guests that have said, oh, well, you know, it's only half full, but I know it's full because I'm here as a guest. I've been able to speak to the staff. But you wouldn't know it. And as you can see right now, despite the fact that the outside decks are completely unusable, there's still heaps of space. It does a really good job, this boat, this ship, of moving people around in such a way that it always feels half full. So that's really great. Now, hopefully you can still hear me. There's a band playing at the moment. This is the Grand Plaza, and it's what, a 1, 2, 3 story place. It's kind of right in the middle of the ship. Now you can see you got the edge of the ship over there. That's the window out, and you got another window out over that side. So that's your girth, and then all kinds of shenanigans going on in here. So this definitely is the place that people kind of gravitate to every single night after they've been eating or doing stuff. There's lots of they had putt on here earlier. The Martini bar down here does great martinis. They do Martini show. Obviously singers. A lot of the performers in the shows come out here and do gigs as well. Possibly lacking chairs. It's really whack design on a couple of the bars here. I don't know if you saw it in Eden as well. See how chairs go the whole way around? So basically every single time you go there to get a drink, you've got to lean over someone. It's really, I really don't like that. I really wish they just have an area where you could just get a drink without having to lean over someone. But at least it encourages conversation. So up here, big cruising area, they have trivia, you know, there's endless things to do. They had archery even the other day, soft archery. This is the cafe, so a great place to get coffees, cakes, bread, cereals, things. Rolls, cookies, things like that. And over here, you've got a couple more, the bistro.
Let me disinfect. If it hurts so much, I think you will need to go rest in your bed. Oh no! 2, 3. Let me call my friends. Oh, but don't be scared. It's my friend. Viens, dis bonjour. Merci. Go get some mushrooms. When they say back to Europe, Cortez eat tomato seeds with it.
Like it's actually on a plate?
Yeah, I was getting his frame rate issues.
There, the tomato was introduced to the European aristocracy. But they got sick from eating tomatoes and even dropped dead. Tomato sauce? White, the mozzarella cheese. And cream, the basic topping. And so the pizza margarita was born, which was so successful that the tomato became a popular ingredient in many different dishes.
Just don't store it in your
Then I
house.
discovered the Spanish artist Pablo Picasso, and I decided I wanted to become a cubistic chef. Yeah.
which is going to give you an idea of what I'm talking about the design thing. So you'll notice here there's no stairs. And when you come around this side, you've got your stairs. So frequently you just end up on the wrong place. And you're like, well, why can't I just get down the other side? If you walk around there, it just goes to a dead end. And if you want to get to what's on the other side of that, you've got to get up, walk all the way down here, which we're going to do now, and then walk in from the other direction. And it looks beautiful. I mean, it's a great looking ship. But yeah, that little functionality is just missing in a lot of places. So down here's all the selling, like I mentioned, Starlink. The internet's been working quite great the whole time. I've had no blips whatsoever. Photo gallery, the excursions. I can't tell you too much about the excursion, unfortunately. I didn't get an opportunity to do. I only got an opportunity to do one, and there was a bit of a mistake with it. So it wasn't what it was supposed to be, so I don't really feel like I can comment on it, even though it was at Dunedin, and we went out and managed to see some sea lions, fur seals, albatross and stuff, so we still saw some great stuff, but apparently we was messing stuff up, so I still had fun. Here's the next set of elevators. I'll take you into the club. So this is where you kind of got a lot of game shows in here, trivia's in here. They had a murder mystery board game thing going on earlier that was awesome. Let's see what the archery was. Things going on all day. I don't know what's going on now.
Okay, you need a quick acting class.
Music trivia.
Oh, actually, I'm going to use you in a second, okay? Just wait over here. There's a guy that's just walked in.
Some production in.
Excuse me, sir. Come in.
No.
We're in a rule where you're not allowed to say no, so you need to come in.
Mate, I'm filming. I can't do it.
He's filming or something. You're back here.
I almost end up in the middle of that. You know what? I think it's probably a good time to point out that like the gentleman just there, and the guy who's been doing the shows, most of the staff, everyone you meet is really good. Like just really good at being communicative and friendly and happy. Everyone on this ship's happy. Okay. I think they're rehearsing in here, so this is the theatre. Let's see if we can take a sneak peek. So I won't disturb them too much, other than to say that I'm impressed by the theatre. It's a really, really large open space. There's no like bollards or things blocking your vision in any way. The sound quality has been really, really good. The visuals have been really, really good. The productions have been really, really good. So very impressed with the shows that I've been able to see. I haven't been able to see as many as I would like, but been very impressed with what I have seen. All right, what about down here? Oh, the meeting place. Actually, this guy's got Mickey Mouse hands on. Private function.
Are you painting?
I am not. No, sorry. So they're doing an art auction in there, I believe, but they were doing watercolour painting course in there before. In the meeting place. Okay, so this is a pretty good rundown of floor, what are we on? 5, 4. Let's go down and have a look at down here. So I believe we're about to walk into, yes, so that's the camp at sea. So this is the kids club down there, which is very loud. I'm not going to go down there, I'm not filming other people's kids. I'm sorry, but that gives you an idea, right? I have actually had a look around in there when there was no one there. And then if you go down another floor, you get to the teens club. Now you'll notice that you can't get through here, and this is kind of another one of those bits where you're going to get caught out, because you look at the map down here and it says camp at sea, like suite, and then you've got Martini bar and all these other things, and you're like, okay, well I'll just go down floor 3 and walk down. Can't do. Got to go back up, walk around and go down. I'm sure there's other ways, but it's just something that I found quite confusing when I was trying to get my head around it. Really lovely artwork everywhere, as a side note. So that's floor 3. I've taken you through floor 4. Let's go have a gaze at floor 5. So to talk a little bit about the drinks. They're really expensive, as you might expect. Looking at about $12 US for beer, and anywhere up to $24 for cocktails, US that is. The drinks package, I think I've mentioned this before in other reviews I've done over the years. I think for at sea days it's worth it. You're likely to probably hit that figure, but for the days that you're doing excursions, it's pretty hard to drink $130 US worth of booze. So you make a call there based on your itinerary, I reckon. And this is Raw on 5, this is not on the specialty dining. Unfortunately, I'm so gutted I didn't get to do this one. I heard it's really, really good. It's all about organic foods, and a lot of people who have come here that I've spoken to have said it's just a higher purity of food options and very yummy. But I haven't had a chance to do it, unfortunately. Here's a look down on the Grand Plaza. I was down there last night busting it out with some 65-year-old lady from Kansas City who liked my go because I didn't like wearing shoes, and neither did she. So we were down there at 2 a.m. being tragics. But you know, when there's things going on, there's a lot of people standing up around here and everything like that. It is a really nice space. But I did find it a little bit claustrophobic. And that's when I was talking before a little bit about how bring the outside in ethos of Celebrity Edge doesn't always carry through. At night, when you can't see the light coming in from the side, I find that this place just feels really inward focused. And that's kind of where all the main action is. But it's a bit like that, I guess, on other cruises as well. But okay, I'm taking you through to the next, back to the elevators that we originally came down. So on floor 5, so we started on floor 6 above here. So that's probably giving you a pretty good idea of what you can expect down low. So I'm just trying to remember what's down the back here. Oh, that goes through to Eden. That's where we originally started. Okay. Let's go have a look outside. Well, maybe the rain stops. But let's go have a look upstairs and I'll show you more. Alright, so here we are on floor 14, so I've just come straight up from where we were before, down the bottom. So we've gone past all the rooms, all the levels of the rooms, and we're at the back of the boat, the aft end of the boat. So this is where you're going to find your Oceanview Café. Little wash your hands station over here. I don't know if it's a post-COVID thing or not, but they're pretty keen on you doing it. Ice cream stations. This is your buffet, it's your main buffet. So it does have parts of the day when it's not open, but it is open for large parts of the day. Little cafe out the back here, get some coffees. And this is the part of the day, so in the middle of the day when the rest of it's not open, they just have a little bit of food out here for you. Sandwiches, cakes, those types of things just to keep you going. Now I'll do a full rundown of this entire buffet, just take you a walk through when it's busy. Okay, so I'm just going to spin off here and give you a closer tour of the buffet, the Oceanview Buffet. It's obviously a big deal for a lot of people, so I'm going to have a pretty long tour here of the breakfast, which is what you can see right now, and there's a savoury section, and also the lunch, just to give you an idea of what to expect, and also talk through what I liked and what I didn't like about it specifically. Now you can see there are bacon, eggs, bacon hash browns, and there's your eggs. You can order eggs to how you like it, so that's always great. You've got your tomatoes there, scrambled eggs, things like that, for example. Now, they're kind of your typical Western staples. What's, I guess, frustrating for me was that they appear multiple times. You probably see a couple of times in this tour, you'll see more bacon, more eggs, more bacon, more eggs. It just keeps going round and round. So there's a bit of rice there, then more bacon, more sausages, more eggs. So this is kind of when I was talking earlier about how I wasn't over the moon with the variety of food. You've got all these stations, and most of them, there's more eggs. Offer the same stuff. Now, I don't know if this is the case in all territories. There's more sausages, there's more hash browns. So, I would have hoped for a bit more variety, potential cultural variety. Maybe some more Asian style foods would be particularly good. Just a bit more options for, I guess, different cultures, but also just for the interest and excitement of trying new things. Which there's a gluten-free section, which is good. But you can see how many stations there are, and for that amount of stations, it's just not a great variety of food. A couple of cereals, some oatmeal somewhere, they're not together, which is annoying. Here you can get more eggs to order, so it does diversify I guess it gives you access to a lot of places, so there's not everyone trying to hunt on the same bacon stand, for example. There's your cereal options, a couple of milks. So that's one of the things that I found a little bit disappointing. There's still a lot of food, and it's still going to fill you up, and you can still kind of find enough variety to mix it up each day to a certain extent. There's more tomato, there's more egg, and there's more sausage. You see what I mean? I just, maybe I've got a false memory of this, but I just remember seeing more variety elsewhere. You got some smoked ham here, which is rad, and so there's a little bit different there. But this is the same thing every single day. It doesn't change up. You don't come here one day. There's the waffles and pancakes. But not only is it a case of it not being that varied, but I found the food kind of bland. It wasn't enjoyable to eat like it was when I, for example, was on Royal Caribbean. I found the buffet was actually like, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to find all these different types of things to eat in the buffet, and they were really yummy. Whereas here, I was like, failed to get seriously excited to do that in the morning, and even though I went up there every single day and I had an enjoyable feed, and I ended up just kind of like focusing on a couple of things that I really liked. So just around the corner here, I think I'll show you it. There was some smoked salmon, And so I'd have smoked salmon on a bagel with some cream cheese, and that was kind of like where I ended up going most days, because that was just, you know, nice and primo. So here's the lunch, and the lunches offers more variety than the breakfast for sure, but every single day was more or less the same stuff. There's a main kind of counter where they vary things up, so you can see lots of salad options. There's things from breakfast that would get regurgitated, well, I don't mean in a bad way, but like get used again, like, you know, your salad, your fruits, your hams and cheeses and stuff like that. So you have a second crack at it, I guess. A few more obviously dishes, but you know, like very pub fare style stuff. And obviously you've got the other restaurants, so you're not obliged to eat here. And the other restaurants, as I've gone through, are, in my opinion, a fair step up from this, whereas on previous cruises I've done, the gap hasn't been as big in terms of like just the enjoyment of the food. But yeah, so every single day you'd kind of get here and you look around and everything was more or less exactly where it was the night beforehand. And I would like to have seen a bit more just variety. And I realise that they can't do brand new stations every single day, it's just not feasible. But to have like one station maybe just where it's completely different every day, so that if you just, you know, like these people have been on this cruise for 12 days. Some people have been on it since Rome, so they've been on it for 50 something days. That's going to, even though I was only there for like 4 or 5 days, and that was kind of, I was quickly tedious of the buffet, which I hadn't done previously. So that's kind of where I ended up on that. But this was a particular day, so not a great example, but this particular station was a day they did do something different, and they had like this chocolate, that's like a chocolate kebab basically, and that was awesome. Anyway, so that's what the buffet's like. It can get pretty busy in here. It can get pretty hard to get spots, especially when the weather's inclement, because some of the other eateries that are outside, you're less likely to want to do, or you're just not swimming and stuff. It's a bit more condensed, people sleep in and so forth. There's still a lot of space out here. It takes you down to the back of the boat. Rain has not improved, so I'll have to take you outside later on. But there's a pizza bar down here, which they stay up reasonably late and gives you an opportunity to dampen the booze with hot cheese and pastry. A mix as old as time. Now, lovely little view off the back of the ship here. And if you take those steps up, which I can't do right now, there's a bar right above us as well. Nice big sunset bar. It looks out off the back here. Very popular. And there's an outdoor cinema up there as well, but I'll have to take you up there later. So, spacious cafe, takes up all the space at the back of the boat. Now the reason why that's interesting is because the front of the boat, at least at this floor and up, and I'll take you to it soon, is also all taken up, but by the retreat, which is the people who are paying more to be in the suites, I believe. Maybe for loyalty members as well that are of a certain class. And as a result of the back of the boat being taken up, what is in the front of the boat being taken up by what they call the retreat, which is a multi-storey section. I think they said there was 300 people staying in suites on this particular trip. There's not really any sports area. And this is going to talk to the heart of my general thoughts on the celebrity edge. And that is, you need to be the right demographic, I think, to have a good time here. Now, there are 150 kids on this boat at the moment, I'm told, out of 3,100, and that should tell you all you need to know. It's not kid friendly, it's kid tolerating, but there isn't a hell of a lot for kids to do without parental help and support. There's no sporting area. There's a little bit, which I could take you to now actually. There's a couple of table tennis tables, like literally a couple. There's the kids club I showed you before, and a teens club, which they do have activities and stuff down there regularly. So that's like, they do have a lot of that. There's this little game here. And the pools obviously, but that's kind of it. There's no basketball court, there's no soccer court, there's no Xbox room, there's no foosball tables or wave to surf or waterworks or I guess the things on other cruises that I've taken where you can just let your kids go and be kids, and you wake up in the morning, they walk out the door and you don't see them again. That's not happening on this ship. As a result, I think it's better suited potentially to, if you're coming as a family, to having young kids, like very young, like the type who are just going to sit in the spa with you and go to kids club and that, and potentially older kids, like late teenagers who will be into having the dinners and relaxing by the pool and sunbaking and reading and things like that. But if you've got family like I do in that 12, 10, 8, they're my 3 kids' ages, I think that they would be annoying people and annoying us. More so than they would be kind of being entertained by the facilities of the cruise boat. There's no wall climbing, there's no laser tag or dodgem cars or all the crazy stuff you see on some of the other boats. So that's just something to be mindful of. And as a result, you can see from the clientele here, a significant number of elderly and a significant number of kind of couples. A couple of groups of just mates and stuff. See, here's the table tennis tables. There's 3 set up now. Got one extra one out, probably because of the weather. But that's kind of it, really. So, very interesting. There's this walking course here, which I think you do 2.5 laps, you do 1 kilometre of it. Now, here's this beautiful, beautiful looking design they've got up here, right? So that's a hot tub, that's a hot tub. You've got your pool, this is your main kind of swimming pool. And the butterflies just for show, but plenty of day beds. And I know it looks really bad today, but there's been some really lovely days here, and this has filled up, but not massively filled up. There's been pool aerobics, there's been pool volleyball, things going on like that. There's been activities being on in the pool. They even had the pool volleyball today, even though it's a bit like this. The waves you can see in the pool right now, like trust me, on other ships I've been on, they get way bigger. That's that bubble thing I was telling you about, I think, coming into action, just keeping things more stable. Now, I'll walk you up here later on. I wonder if I can walk you now. Is it raining too much? Well, as you can see, it's not symmetrical. You've got this beautiful archway through here. It looks fantastic at night. It's all lit up with neon blues and everything like that. And there's like cushioned couches all the way around it, right? They're like cabanas almost that you can just hang out in. And on this side, you've got this amazing glass ramp that just kind of like takes you up a floor. But they're not all interconnected. And so you'll find if you walk up there, you can't come down. And if you walk, if you walk around here, you can't come down. You've got to come back and go down these stairs. You've got to go back all the way down, back around here, or go all the way around and go down through there's a smoking section, kind of the half floor there. And I'll show you around here, it's the same. So if you follow around first from the back of the bar, back sunset bars I was telling you about, if you walk down here, you can't get down. You got to go up and then walk all the way around. And it's just, that's when I say about how it's like a bit more form over function. That's what I'm referring to. So it looks great. And it's really, really nice. It just kind of, it just takes you a while to get your head around which way you're supposed to walk. You'll also notice that this deck down here has really high glass, or plastic, or whatever they've got here. I think it's glass. Double story length all the way around here. So if this means that basically down here, just down on this level here, you can't take photos unless you take it through the glass, which sucks. So when we're going through things like Milford Sound, which was just, you've got to do it. It is so incredible. Everyone was lined up here, bumped in on the bits that you could take photos from, and then frequently in spots where you couldn't take photos from. And that was kind of frustrating for me because this whole idea of bringing the outside inside is kind of nerfed when we buy these tall glasses, by the fact that the front of the boat is completely blocked off. I'll show you that now. sorry, blocked off from average punters. I'm just going to risk the rain here and hope that the tech doesn't freak out. So these are my favourite spots, just sitting up here in the spas. And just kind of, like I sat in there and just kind of watched the mountains go past in Milford Sound. It was epic. It was like one of the best experiences of my life. The magic carpet over there is sensational, so I will show you that. That is a big win. I haven't seen any live music out here. No bands playing, no DJs. It's been quite quiet in that regard. And hopefully I'm not getting lots of water on the camera here. And when you come up to the top, this is the running track I was telling you about. The whole front end is fenced off for the retreat, for the rich. And so you as a punter can't actually get to the front of the boat to have a look off from the deck anywhere. And that's just really disappointing. And it's a real shame. You know, not even down on the very bottom, down on deck 5 where the lifeboats are, you still can't get through. So there's the big X. It's really cool. The design, like I said, I really like the design. I'm going to walk onto the magic carpet here. I'm the only person up here braving it. Let me just make sure that lens is clean. Right, so here's the magic carpet. No, yeah. And as you can see, really nice spot, heaps of really comfortable seating. It looks obviously very wet and damp right now, but for the vast majority of this trip, it's just been lovely and sunny and luxurious. And there's a bar here, obviously you can get some drinks. Now this is where the bringing the outside inside really does shine. This place is really cool. You're right out on the deck. I'll show you down here. So you can see we are hanging right out there. As miserable as it may be, it's still so epic out here. And this thing goes up and down. So it's to do a lot. They said it's to do a lot with the balance of the ship where they need it. So we're on top floor right now, and that's helping balancing the ship, helping stopping the rocking. It can go down a couple of floors, it sits down there a bit. And then when they do tenders, like excursions and stuff like that, they need to bring someone on board, it lowers right down to the water level, and you can just step off onto a boat. So fantastic concept, pretty wonderfully realised. That rain has just gone up a notch, and now I'm stuck here. All right. Rather than risk damage, I will kind of come back up here later on and to show you a tour of the back end there. But you can get a bit of a sneak peek where there's a kind of a rooftop terrace garden back there with a cinema screen that goes out that have movies on in the middle of the day and at night time for the kids. And there's a bar and a place to eat. And then you've got a sunset bar on the other side of it. But I'm going to turn this off and get to some dry space, and I'll show you the Solarium, which is the adults pool, which is where those bubbles are right there. So let's go take a look at that. All right, so we're out of the rain. And this is that section I was telling you about before, this archways. Again, really lovely at night. And they've got all this stuff, kind of all the cushions as you can imagine now, it's out of the rain, but there's all these lovely spots to sit in here, very spacious, you can fit a lot of people in these. And like I said, sometimes the magic carpet, which is above us right now, will come down and you can just go in through here. But as you can see, if you want to take photos of anything, you've got a photo through the glass down here, so that's a bit of a bummer. Especially on a cruise ship that's going to somewhere as beautiful as, you know, New Zealand, which is a stunning country. All right, so you've got a bar down here, and through here you've got a burger joint. It'll serve you American style burgers, not my style, but if you're down with your Big Macs, this is where you're going to get an experience like that. And as you see, open now. It's also like an ice cream machine there. You can just go to town on that, as my kids would be. All right, so here we are in the Solarium, which is going to feel like a beautiful little oasis away. Now, they have this is supposed to be adults only, but after some complaints from some of the families here, they have allowed for a family hour time. It was mostly due to, I believe, some complaints about kids getting too sunburnt, being forced to be out the back. I think that's a good idea, especially considering there's not too many kids here and they haven't got too much to do, as I mentioned before. So reasonably small pools in both sides, but the clientele are more happy to be reading and relaxing than swimming constantly, so I haven't seen that full. The dome, it's not see-through, which is a bit of a bummer. So you can't really see what's going on out there. You can't see the night sky, you can't see clouds and everything, but it does offer very good protection. It's very temperate in here, very nicely controlled environment. Really nice cushioned seats in here as well, the whole way around. That's that little smoker section, by the way, I was pointing out before. And then you've got more over there. Now, my little grumble, I guess, is that it's mid-ship, the Solarium, and so you can look out either side, but you can't see forward or backwards. And I think, I guess the majority of the clientele are adults, so maybe the need for a parents' retreat isn't as drastic as it is on, say, Royal Caribbean. But yeah, the fact that the whole front end is handed over to the retreat, that's kind of where another negative of it comes up. Not a problem if you're in the retreat, but for the rest of us. Okay. They do have a little place down here where you can get this is kind of nice for breakfast. They do really good smoothies, fresh juices, you get sandwiches and a few little bits and pieces here in the mornings. It's all kind of shut down at the moment, but that's a nice another little spot that helps diversify the demand for some of the other places on the ship. And then I'll take you through here where we're heading into now the front end of the ship, number 14. It's probably the floor that I spent the most amount of time on, the 14 and 5. Right, so in here's part of the spa, and the spa goes all the way around and then comes out over here.
I would have tried it.
I have gone in the spa, so I'll show you a little clip from that. But typical of cruises, very expensive, very luxurious, primo products. 140 treatments, I believe, in there. So if you can afford it, you can get very pampered. Now up in here is the fitness centre, which is really, really good gym. Not that the only exercise I've been doing is with my drinking arm, but I'll take you for a quick tour. Stacks of equipment. I've seen it regularly used all day. I haven't seen it fill up. So I think they do have done some, there's been like morning yoga and everything that usually happens on deck, but if it's raining I think they might move it down here or into the meeting place. You can see, huge array of equipment. You may have also noticed, it's the front of the ship. So this is pretty much the only spot you can go as a punter to look off the front of the ship. That deck down there is part of the spa. So other than that, you go to the captain's bridge, which is above us. So there's a bit of a tour of what the gym offers. There's a room off the side here as well. A motion studio in there. It could be where they do a lot of the rehearsals for the shows. So yeah, they have nailed it with the gym. The gym's excellent. So combine that with the jogging track that's upstairs, which I've seen get a lot of use, not when it's raining obviously, but during the day, and you get an idea of how you can attempt to get all those buffets dealt with before you return to the mainland and plodge back home like I'm about to do. All right, now from here upstairs, you're pretty much looking at Retreat. There is a restaurant down on 12, I think, called Luminae, that is only for the Retreat members. It's a really nice restaurant. Right. And that's where you enter into the Retreat. And so behind there you can imagine there's like X amount of tables and chairs and lounges and stuff that then backs onto the Solarium that we were at before. And then that stretches around, all the way around the whole entire front of the ship. And you can go upstairs and there's another pool and spas and stuff that are solely available to the Retreat that looks off the front of the boat. And look, it's great for everyone in the Retreat. I just don't think it's that great for everyone else on the ship. I think they would like to have seen a design that allowed everyone to stand at the front outside. My personal opinion, so I can't take it there. That's Retreat. That's Retreat. And I believe the bridge might be through one of these corridors as well, which I have been into. It's really impressive, very, very large bridge. Okay, so that's a bit of a full tour. I don't think there's anything else I can show you. Guest services, I should note, has been short queues, really easy to access. Which is good because it can be, I've been on other cruises where you can wait an hour every time you go there. All right, well let's, fingers crossed the rain goes and I can show you the back half of the boat. Okay, so it's the next day and the weather hasn't really improved like I hoped it would, but it is raining a bit less, so I can take you to that last section of the boat and give you that last minute tour. I do appreciate if apologise if my voice isn't up to the same spec that it was yesterday, but that is because there were some last night heroics at the Martini bar last night, and yeah, I'm not my sharpest self today. But anyway, let's go have a look at the last bit of the boat that you haven't been able to see yet. Right, so there we go. It's the magic carpet that we were in yesterday when it started pouring. I'm going to take you down to the back of the boat, back of the ship. The beautiful Sydney Harbour in the background, even in this apocalyptic weather. It is such a beautiful place. In fact, the captain was telling us that despite the fact he's been like to every port on the planet, he said his previous favourite was, he hadn't been to Australia yet, and he said his previous favourite port was, I think he said Calgary in Canada, and he said that Sydney has now replaced it. To be fair, it was 42 degrees and the classic summer day here when he arrived. So not quite as spectacular in terms of blue skies and beauty, but still special. I just wanted to come down here, which obviously, as you can see, goes nowhere, just to show you that it goes nowhere. Just kind of reiterating my point previously, that there's just a lot of this kind of like, yeah, navigational gremlins to deal with. But ultimately, you know, you do get your head around it and come to grips with it. The interesting design quirks of this ship, which by overall is just really pretty and really beautifully done. I forgot to show you this before because of the weather.
Well, a very good morning, celebrity action.
Righto, so now that an announcement's done, I'll continue on. So you can see this giant X thing here, which it looks rad at night. It looks spectacular. But it's kind of redundant during the day, and I think that's where they could have put a live band or something. That would have been cool. Anyway, let's go have a look down the rack here. Interestingly, how good is that look with the Harbour Bridge? The last 3 days have been full rain days, and I've never experienced full rain days on a cruise before like I have this last 3 days of the trip. Before that, it was really, really nice. So people sunbaking out here. But it definitely hasn't kind of ruined the experience. It's been still as much fun with the rain as it was without it. There's so much to do inside the ship. And with the Solarium, and I still went up into the the spa that's up, up there, and sat in the wind and rain in the hot spa having a drink yesterday, and that was really, 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 really fun. So don't let the weather bother you too much. So here's the...
Also notice that at the moment the weather is raining, so make sure you have an umbrella with you. We thank you for choosing Celebrity for your cruise vacation. We wish you a lovely day in Sydney and a safe onward journey.
So here's the rooftop garden out the back I was talking about before. There's some extra width here. So there's been like movies out here. They had kids movies on. I saw Elemental they had on. They had Indiana Jones here yesterday. We had a couple of cocktail events out here, like for the media. So it's a bit of a function space, I guess. Really nice spot. Really comfy seats. There's a bar at the back here. They do serve food here as well. And it's reasonably sheltered from the wind here as well. They've got these nets over the gardens. I don't know what they're there for. They've been there the whole entire time. So maybe it's just to do with the season we're in. Or maybe the seagulls. There's a lot of seagulls doing something they shouldn't be doing. But yeah, see if I can make my way through here. Okay, so that's super fascinating. So that's the local Sydney biosecurity team going through everything. They go through and they do like tests on, like every country's got its own standards. And I guess they pull into port at all these places. They've all got to meet the local standards. The captain was telling us this the other day. And a lot of the technology they have in the bridge is so advanced that they've reduced some of the inspection times in some of the ports from like a whole day to 40 minutes because they can monitor everything so well from the bridge. Anyway, little side note. But that was them inspecting all those bushes to see whether or not there were things that the Australian flora and fauna did not want encroaching on our land. Now, here's a little backwards facing bar, called the Sunset Bar, which is a really, really lovely spot. And not that many spaces really for just how desirable it is to be. And obviously you get full drinks here and everything. Now, this is a really nice place to obviously get your pictures and everything, but not as desirable as the front of the ship because you often get the wake coming off behind you as you're moving, and also because of the way that you're travelling, the breeze will bring the steam coming out of the big giant X and kind of cloudy pictures, but not all the time, just sometimes it can be like that. Which is why I would like the front to be accessible as well as the back. But still really, really, really nice space. I really enjoyed kind of hanging out here just to relax. There's usually a really good vibe here, lots of people talking, lots of people having a good time out here. Okay, so I've finally managed to get to the back of the ship and show you the rest of it on this tour. I do apologise for how haphazard this particular tour has been. I like to do it in one go, but the weather just didn't play ball with us. So there we go, guys. Those are my thoughts and my tour of the Celebrity Edge cruise ship, which is now in the port of Sydney, having spent the last 11 to 12 days going around New Zealand. I was on it for the last 5. I'm not sure if you want to see the Opera House or the Harbour Bridge in the background for my finale. Both spectacular despite the mist. So, look, final thoughts and final verdict here. It's a beautiful, beautiful ship, the Celebrity Edge. Not all the design works in the favour of just user friendliness. As I've pointed out a few times, you can't quite get to the front of the ship. You will go down places where you can't really get to, and it's a bit easier to just get annoyingly lost because you know where you're going, but it just won't let you get there. So those are the kind of the cons, but I think the pros definitely outweigh that. Like, it's just spectacular, and I've got so many great shots of our destinations with the cruise ship in them because the beauty of the actual design actually enhances the photography as opposed to just trying to get to the edge and shoot off it into the natural wonders beyond. So I think that speaks volumes. I think that also what speaks volumes is that I've met so many people that are so happy and having such a good time. I mean, the staff are great and they always keep on a brave face. I don't know if all I can say is that they seem very happy and are very helpful. But the guests, most importantly, have just been uniformly just having the time of their lives. And I think that speaks to the facilities and the features and the experiences that are on offer here for guests. But I do think that that particular guest needs to be a certain type of person. I think that if you were a family with young children, in particular in that bracket between, I'm going to say 6 and 16, somewhere in the middle there, I don't think Celebrity Edge is going to be the most satisfying experience for you. I think you're going to have to do too much work to keep your kids entertained, and that they're probably going to get on the nerves of other guests, and they're probably going to get on your nerves, and none of you are going to have as spectacular a time as you might be able to have on a different cruise ship, which is more catered to that age bracket, by which I mean more sports facilities, more spaces for kids to be, and more kids in general. As I said, there's 150 kids on this particular cruise out of the 3,100 guests that are on here at the moment, and I haven't seen too many of them as a result. Now, the next cruise after this one, today is December 21, the next cruise is the Christmas cruise. Apparently it's 300 kids on that, and then there's a cruise leaving on January 3, and apparently there's 400 kids on that. So still, even in part of school holidays, primo time, still not too many kids on board. And if you're in an environment like we've been, where there's 3,000 people on board and it feels half full half the time, which is great, it's absolutely a credit to the ship that it feels like that. If 3,000 adults feels sparse, 400 kids is going to feel really sparse. So just something to keep in mind there. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm trying to say that you shouldn't get Celebrity Cruises, shouldn't get Celebrity Edge. It's just to say that I think that you need to go in with the right knowledge and headspace on that and make the correct decision for you, because if you're in that gap, I would go elsewhere. If you're outside that gap, I think you're going to have a really fantastic time, because the finish and how new it is, and the technology on board and the quality of the experiences has been to a high premium standard throughout. I wouldn't go as far as to saying it's like luxury. It's not that kind of next step up to you know, maybe it is in the retreat, I don't know. But it's definitely premium. Yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Celebrity Edge. I would definitely get on this cruise again one day, I'm sure, because it's been a really good time. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check out my other videos. Until next time, I'm back on the road. You.